Hello, Sam. Hello, Rocky. Just in time. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. Yay. I'm so excited to be here. I think March, we're going on 4 years of live streaming every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, unless travel or guests in different time zones affect that. So, yay. Thank you. Anyways, for those that may be new, hey, everybody. Hey, Amy. Hey, Susie. For those, I'm talking about Rocky this morning. For those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people across the world, empowering the lives of them and the animals in their care, and we do that through our live streaming services, using positive reinforcement and applied behavior analysis. Hey, Glorian from Taiwan says, won't miss this episode. Good. I hope I give you guys everything you want to hear this morning. And I've been up for 3 hours sitting here saying, okay, where do I start? What do I talk about? Behavior. Hello. That's Sam. Hi, Sam. It's not about you today, Sam. He begs to differ. Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Do you know I drive? Hi. The other day I was driving around. Hi, Sam. Driving around the other day in my car with my dog, and I was just sitting there listening to the radio going, hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Sam. Everybody's saying hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Okay. Well, you're going to get an earful of hi, Sam. I got to be careful with my laughing because that's going to get Rocky going. Anyways, just had a turkey vulture fly to the window. Hello? Welcome. Hello. That's really. Hello. Hi, Sam. I am trying to teach him to say, I know you're there. Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. So thank you. Hi, Sam. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Funny Fun. And I fit in perfectly. Hi, Sam. Oh, okay. Hey, to my friends out there at the Long Island Parrot Society that are listening in their car while they're heading to, I can't pronounce that, some kind of eagle watching place in Connecticut. Listening to Coffee with the Critters in the car. Yay, good. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so my Facebook page has been very heavy with photos, videos of Rocky. I'll say at the end, most of you already know what we're getting ready to do tomorrow. But very pretty Rocky. Where do I begin with the story of Rocky? So Rocky, hello, Rocky is in this picture. Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Okie dokie. Hi, Sam. Peekaboo Rocky's in the picture on the right. He is the one. What? Hello. What are you talking about? We're trying to teach him to say other things now that hi, Sam is very strong. Hi, Sam. Okay. So there's Susie Chin. She a longtime follower, especially of the work with Rocky. Don't let me forget, Susie, to talk about the first time I met you, because that was a pretty important part in Rocky's life. Okay, so Rocky is our 20-year-old Moluccan cockatoo that I adopted over 12 years ago. Hi, Sam. Yes, it's all about Sam today. That we adopted over 12 years ago. I was fairly new to birds still understanding them, their intricacies, and now they're one of the most complex. I work with a lot of different species of animals. Hey, Tambry. Hi, Sam. I work with a lot of different species of animals. We were just talking about this in our memberships and our projects because I'm diving deep into my research on abnormal repetitive behaviors and the problem behaviors, that problem as far as animal welfare, mental and physical well-being of the animal. How they happen a lot through, but not just limited to, lack of choice. We're talking about that pretty heavy right now in our memberships and projects. Let me get this slide off of here and get to the next slide. When I first, even before Rocky, I'd already had Rico, I had a Murray. I knew I wanted a Moluccan cockatoo. I was starting to become I was starting to become extremely interested in birds. And before Rico, I knew absolutely nothing about them. I didn't care for them. I had no interest. I guess I had no respect for them. And that lack of respect came through lack of education and knowing and learning better. Yes, isn't that the truth, Lisa? Where to begin to tell the story of a love that never ends? I had recently been to a zoo helping them work with numerous different animals, and they were just like, the toughest ones are the birds. They're hard. They said they are hard for us to understand. And that's why, I mean, I love working with all animals. I like to focus on applied behavior analysis with all animals to show people the power of behavior change and how it works and how it teaches you an understanding of the animal. Just an antecedent in the background. Didn't we just do this last Sunday? Hi, Sam. Anyways, that's my fascination with birds. They are the apple in my eye because they are the most intricate, complex animals I've worked with, and I love working with them. They complicate the hell out of my life. Hi, Sam. And I love that complication. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so I already had two birds. Hi, guys. Bye-bye. Bye. Hello. Hello, Sam. Hello. Hi. That's Sam, our 23-year-old blind, recently adopted blue-fronted Amazon, fully flighted. There's Rico, love of my life, first bird. Boy, did that he complicated that. Hi, Sam, the hell out of my life. Yes, birds are so very different. Birds are so very different anatomically. I love working with them. I love working with prey. I love working with prey that can do a lot of damage really fast, and that is the parrot. Good morning. So I had two birds. Hi. Hi, guys. I had two birds, and I really wanted a Moluccan cockatoo. the more research I was doing, the more I found all these Moluccan cockatoos. A good percentage of birds filling the rescues are cockatoos, but definitely not the most. Hello? And a lot of them were Moluccans. And then I started digging deeper and finding out how much a lot of cockatoos are really, hi Sam, are prone to feather destructive behaviors and mutilation. We even had a couple case studies where it gets pretty deep, where I actually was recording. I'll skip that because those aren't the pretty stories. Hi Sam. I knew, hey Barbara, hey Pat. So this is all I know of Rocky's. Hello, Sam. This is all I know about Rocky's previous life before me. Is that he was 8 years old. At least that's what it says on the paper. He was 8 years old. And hi, Sam. He lived in a house in a suburb of Toledo, and with a man who had a Rottweiler. Are things starting to connect here? With a man who had a Rottweiler. I had heard the man had been in and out of help for some mental issues, and then he decided to move and left, emptied the whole house except for Rocky in his cage. Hello. Left everything except for Rocky in his cage. The mother and the daughter, which were older, came over to check on the house and saw that Rocky was still in his cage. So they called in a rescue. The rescue came and got him out of the cage. And I was told at that time that the mother and the daughter were like, this is a very aggressive bird. We won't touch him. And they even went to the kitchen and stood behind the door while the rescue got the bird, Rocky, out of his cage. Hi, Sam. Hello. So then he went to the rescue. And he was at the rescue, but before I knew of Rocky and the rescue, I was already looking at Moluccans. And I remember looking at a Moluccan named Fruit Loop under the age of 1 that had been purchased and already rehomed. So I was just like, whoa, I need to take a step back, because that's pretty intense under the age of 1 year old that you're already rehomed. And I knew enough at that time to say, I may need to dig it a little deeper here. So I ended up seeing Rocky coming through with the rescue. And I was just like, who is this bird? And they're like, oh, he's just newly into our rescue, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what do I need? Tell me more about him. So I ended up adopting him. And boy, I always say he's my favorite mistake, because talk about complicating the hell out of my life. I thought I did that before. I just added it times 10. When I brought in Rocky, he was an 8-year-old cockatoo. I was having all kinds. I had dabbled around with applied behavior analysis before Rocky, and knew enough about it that I saw it working sometimes. I was using it primarily just for teaching husbandry behaviors and tricks. I didn't know the intensity of it. I knew enough of it just to stick my finger in and twirl the pot, okay? But then here comes Rocky, and some behaviors were pretty intense that I didn't understand how to work with or wasn't sure. I knew enough about applied behavior analysis to figure out that some of these behaviors were unknowingly reinforced with attention from people, okay? So it ended up, some behavior issues were pretty severe for me at that time. He had some abnormal repetitive behaviors. He is the reason I started digging into understanding abnormal repetitive behaviors. And those of you in the projects and the memberships know that that is the main mission behind where I'm at, to empower the lives of animals. I focus, but definitely not limited to, abnormal repetitive behaviors such as there are plenty across species, high rates in undomesticated animals under human care. Because as you heard me say in the podcast, and these aren't podcasts, these are live streams. Podcasts are things that you only listen to. I do those in the house, quiet background, and those are available only to the people in our membership program. We just did what I thought was a pretty powerful one 2 days ago on abnormal repetitive behaviors, which a lot of times, most of the times, are dealt with the inability, lack of choices in their environment, lack of control over their environment. It gets deep. It gets a lot deeper than that. And then we could get into separation anxiety, which is huge in the companion parrot community. I would say, if I had to guess at the top of my head, probably 50%, over 50% of companion parrots in the household or in, hey, there's Dave. Hi, Dave. He used to, Dave and I go way back. He used to take care of my birds when I went out of town a long time ago. A lot of people are unknowingly dealing with separation anxiety within the companion community. These are social creatures, and I'm not here preaching because I do some of this too. These are social creatures living in, forced to be kept away from each other, creating tight bonds with certain people, and then the person leaves. You'll see abnormal repetitive behaviors develop a lot of times out of separation anxiety. Rocky has one, which is the cage bar flip. He also has another one that I keep a really close eye on, which is he will pluck the feathers on his legs, and then once he sees the blood starting to come out, then he'll start digging deeper for a wound. Now you're on your way to self-mutilation, okay? Once you start dealing with self-mutilation, not only do you have separation anxiety, abnormal repetitive behaviors, feather destructive behaviors, self-injurious behaviors, now you're leading to medical behaviors, medical concerns. So we were able to catch Rocky's really fast, and that leg plucking has happened twice in the past 12 years that I've had him. I want to pay attention to the antecedents that happened before that. Those distant antecedents are cues to me that stress and anxiety is starting to develop again. And once you have a moderate to severe case of separation anxiety, no matter what the animal, like I said, which is skyrocketing in the companion parrot community, but people don't understand what they're looking at or how to change that. Once you start dealing with a moderate to severe case of separation anxiety, no matter what the animal, your future and that animal's future is going to be based on a maintenance program, okay? It's going to be things like Rocky's abnormal repetitive behaviors are probably never going to go away. Here we are 12 years later, they have still not gone away. They're still here, but not near as the amount they were when I first adopted him. He would do this flip along with the scream, along with a certain very well practiced head twists, head turn. I could tell it had a long history of reinforcement because of how well practiced it was. That That happened with an ear-piercing scream once every 3 seconds for probably 3 hours on end. Those of you that have followed my work with Rocky from the get-go will remember that. That still exists today, but what it'll last for maybe a minute. Tickle wickle. It'll last for maybe a minute. And we may see it once, maybe twice a day. We may not see it at all in a week, okay? But Rocky was doing a lot of things to the point my family wouldn't come over to the house anymore. My mom was just like, your house is a dangerous place for your nieces and nephews to be. And I was like, so then stay away for a while, okay? I've got some work to do. That's when I told you I dabbled in applied behavior analysis before I got Rocky for a couple years, and it was just enough to understand and start understanding. And I didn't thoroughly understand the power of it. If I did, I would have advanced a lot faster to where I am now. I like to do it. I like to apply it. At the time, I was just applying it to the parrots. Now I apply it to everything. To you, to them, to my husband, to the traffic on the road, to the people I interact with when I'm talking about animals. You can't not use it once you know the power of it. But when I adopted Rocky, I was like, this is a lot more intense than what I think I have the education to do better with. And then at that time, when I was talking about some of the behavior issues, which was running, lunging, chasing, biting, I couldn't get close to his cage. I was afraid he was going to hurt himself. When I came close to the cage, he would start really thrashing his head up against the cage. And I was like, okay, this bird's going to hurt himself. So I sought out professional advice, and the professional advice I was given was to put Rocky down. And here's my concern about that. This was professional advice given to me, and I remember at the time I was just like blown away. I was like, are you serious? And here's what really scares me about that. Is because totally did not think tears were going to come in this morning. And I know if Jason was watching this right now, he'd be like, would you stop crying? Let me tell you why I cry when I tell this story. Because I never told the truth why I cry when I tell this story. Is because I almost did it. Hi, Sam. I almost did it. So why does that make me cry? What makes me cry is because here I am 12 years later, living with one of the most amazing creatures. Yeah, when it's not warranted, Daphne. I was looking up to this professional because that's what professionals do. And it was advised that I put him down. And the thing that makes me cry is because I almost did it. I almost did it because I didn't know enough about behavior. Yes, I did. I didn't know enough about behavior to know that I could change this. So I was like, this cannot happen. You know what I mean? And I sat there. I remember I was just blown away. And I was just like, I went into another room and I sat and started crying because I was like, oh my God, I have to put this bird down. And then I came back out and I was just like, wait a minute. I know enough about behavior to know that this is a bird that is being very manipulative, okay? Making eye contact, paying attention to the environment. He is rearranging antecedents in consequences to get what he wants. This is a very manipulative animal. And I knew enough that manipulation is a sign of intelligence. And I remember saying, I don't think so. I think what I'm seeing is learned behavior. Rocky wasn't hatched this way. Rocky was not hatched this way, okay? I could tell by his interactions, he was manipulating his environment to get the consequences he wanted. Abnormal repetitive behaviors were skyrocketing because he was confined with very limited choices and a sense of control over his environment. So, then here was the tough part. Then I was told, okay, you've got 1 month to change his behavior or we're going to put this bird down. So I was like, game on. And I came home and I remember that was one of the most stressful times of my life because I was reaching to everybody for help. And I was contemplating diving a little deeper into applied behavior analysis, and that's when I jumped. And I jumped in with both feet. And I did it for no other reason than this dude on my screen. That's how it started. And then I remember my studies were tough. That was very stressful on me. But the main motivation and reinforcer for why I jumped in as fast, as hard as I did is because I wasn't getting enough information from the outside community that I needed. I paid a lot of money for my education. And all my master's levels classes in applied behavior analysis had not a darn thing to do with animals. Not one case study. It was all with people. So I started working with Rocky, and it was just being able to approach the cage. There's no way I was sticking my fingers in his cage. I wanted to get him out because I didn't like seeing him in a cage, but I couldn't get him out because I didn't know how to get him back in. Now I do. So I didn't get him out in the first 2 weeks, okay? So his timeline is shrinking. And I remember I would cry every day in another room. But I would come out and I'd be like, Rocky, you have no choice. You need to get out of this cage. And then I started digging a little deeper. We made enough change and progress within 1 month, believe me, because it didn't all come from my studies because they didn't happen that fast. But I already knew a little bit enough about applied behavior analysis to start making changes. Then once I did get him out, and I was looking for old photos before I started this live stream. And they're all on my other computer, which is otherwise known as a very expensive photo storage device. There's a ton on there, and it's a lot of my beginning training photos, and I will upload them here. But I remember when I was, where do I start? I couldn't get him out of the cage. After a couple of weeks, I was like, I made that leap. I was not comfortable with it, but I did it because we were on a timeline. And I got him out of his cage, not knowing how I was going to get him back in. But this is what happens a lot is a lot of people will say this type of work takes so much patience. What are your other options? You know, this is working at the animal's pace, identifying the animal's reinforcers, looking at that animal as an individual, because behavior modification plans are not cookie cutter. It is not one thing fits all. We have 7, 8, 9 different birds here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different animals, okay? I have not approached, of all these 15, I have not had the same approach twice. It's always been different. It's always based on that individual. I'm going to bring Rocky out at the end of this live stream. I'm just not doing it now because my focus will be all on him, okay? Oh, yes, I should get an external hard drive. Hey, Meredith, good to see you. So I ended up getting him out before I was comfortable. I made that choice based on this timeline that we were on. What I did was I would get him to step up onto, I had a big wicker basket that I used to keep, I think I used to keep dog toys in it. I had a big wicker basket, and I would get him to step up onto the handle of that big wicker basket, because I can hold the wicker basket down here. You can be up here. That wicker basket's going to die in about 5.2 seconds with that beak. But it was a way for me to move Rocky, and this was me using environmental events to control behavior. I needed to control Rocky's behavior. I knew he could fly, and I knew if he had the opportunity, he was going to fly at me and bite the crap out of me. I knew that through behavior I saw inside the cage. And what that is, what behavior that is from the animal is not, the animal does not understand. The animal is behaving based on what it knows, what it has experienced. So the whole 2.5 weeks in the beginning, I'm training him through the cage, target, recall. I'm training him to do all kinds of things I need him to do when he comes out. I'm teaching him. You've never seen Rocky? You're going to see Rocky here in about a half an hour. I'm teaching him all contingencies he needs to understand for me to continue working with when he comes out of the cage. Contingencies meaning, if I do this, then this happens. If you do this, then this happens. So that training was happening inside the cage. Okay? And in the meantime, I am starting my master's levels classes in applied behavior analysis. I did it for, at that time, no other reason than Rocky. This was more than me just dabbling in applied behavior analysis, okay? I say that. I went back to school because a life is now depending on me. And I am very passionate and very adamant about people giving advice that may not understand the extent. If you're going to stand up there and give advice, know what you're talking about. You know why? Because people are listening. And if you only know enough to dabble, you can do a lot of good, you can do a lot of damage. I had no room to do damage. So, and in the field of work that I do, lives are depending on me. That's why I take this very seriously. Mental lives are depending on me. Okay, I know several of the animals that I work with, their future is on a timeline. So, anyways, that's why I'm saying, there's plenty of people out there who know what they're doing in applied behavior analysis, and I am happy to gear you towards any of them. If you're going to give advice, know what you're talking about. Okay? Because lives may depend on it. Anyways. Daphne says, hell yeah, I know what you're talking about because there's some crazy professionals out there. Yeah. Watch their work. Watch their work. If I see somebody interacting with an animal that's using positive reinforcement, and you cannot use positive reinforcement all the time, but then they force the animal to go back somewhere, one of my eyebrows is going to raise. All right? So, anyways, yes, love applied behavior analysis. It is applied behavior analysis is a profession in of its own. Behavior is anything but easy. It's contextual. It can change in a heartbeat. It's all based around the individual. It's all based around the environment. It's based around behavior doesn't lie. All right? Behavior is anything but easy. That doesn't mean you can't change it. You can, once you understand how. So Rocky, I could tell attention was a reinforcer for Rocky. Yeah. Anyways, I could tell attention was a reinforcer for Rocky. I could tell Rocky wanted to spend time with my husband. I could tell Rocky did not want me in the room when my husband was home. Behaviors told me that. And I remember, this is the problem with constructs and labels, okay? I could have easily said, Rocky hates me, okay? Tell me what hate looks like, because I was sitting there thinking, Rocky hates me. And I was like, all right, well, that makes absolutely no sense. Because when I walk out of the room, when Freddie isn't home, when I walk out of the room, Rocky starts screaming. When I walk back into the room, Rocky stops screaming. And he's making eye contact. And what he's doing is he's manipulating his environment. So I was like, all right. So I walked out of the room again. Not 3 seconds out of the room, screaming started. Walked back in, stopped. So if this bird hated me, why does it stop screaming when it can see me? I'm not saying the bird likes me. What I'm saying is attention and eye contact were a reinforcer for not vocalizing. All right? I was paying attention to observable and measurable behavior. And then, so I was able, that's why I keep that crate. You know that crate that I carry Rocky in that is his convertible? That's because I was using that crate. That's the only crate he's ever had, and it's 12 years old, and he could destroy that in a heartbeat, and he hasn't. So I continue to use that crate because that crate he's familiar with it, and that crate tells a story for me. Because when I was using that crate is when I was advised to put the animal down. The crate still exists, and so does Rocky. And so do I, 12 years later. So Rocky, okay, attention was a reinforcer. Here's me training Rocky to hang upside down. This was, I don't know, a year or two ago. Training Rocky to hang upside down on a Boeing with using attention as a reinforcer. All right? Then Rocky and I started blogging about all of my work with Rocky, and it may still be on my website. Dig deep. You're going back 12 years ago. And I was sitting there blogging all the time about, okay, all my emotions were in those blogs. Nobody knew who Laura Joseph was. The Animal Behavior Center didn't even exist. It wasn't even a thought. Coco. So I'm sitting here blogging and writing, and what I noticed were people were starting to read the blog. And I was just like, I am not a professional. I am just using what I'm learning in my master's level classes on a bird that is doing better, on a bird that I had adopted. And then my blog started attracting too many readers. Too many. I mean, I was like, oh my God, people are watching what I'm saying and what I'm, the advice I'm giving. Now I say that because I was just saying, I'm just getting started in master's level classes in applied behavior analysis. It started attracting so much attention that you guys that know Kathy Hahn called me up one day and said, will you come speak at, I follow your blog, will you come speak at our annual event? And that's where I met Susie Chin. And I said, no, I am not a public speaker. And they're like, and she told me, she goes, you have a story you need to tell. Other people want to know how you did this with Rocky. And I said, no. And she called me back the second year. And I said, no. And then she called me back again. And she said something that hit home. She goes, other people need help, Laura. You can help them. That's when I agreed. And I flew out to New Jersey and I spoke publicly for the first time. And it was all about what I did to change Rocky's behavior. And Rocky started gathering a following. That's where I met Susie and Bridget Fernandez. And Dana Robertson, if you guys remember, some of you guys know, this is going way back, flew all the way to New Jersey from Alaska to listen to that talk. That overwhelmed me. I was just like, I'm just telling you guys about what I did with Rocky. And they were there in support of the progress we had made. That made me very emotional. It still does. So then I start getting more phone calls. Will you come and speak here? Can you just tell us about our behavior change plan? Then I get a phone call from the Pittsburgh Zoo. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And they were just like, Kathy referred them to me, and they asked me to come and give a talk to all their docents. And I did. I talked about behavior, but at that time I was starting to, my master's level classes in applied behavior analysis were getting a little more intense, advanced. I was volunteering by that time out at Nature's Nursery, a local wildlife rehabilitation center, and I would sit down and I would study. And I would read the page over and over again, because that's how I process information, because I have to visualize what I'm doing in order for it to absorb. So I would read it and I would stand up and try something with a bird, with my dog. I would go out to Nature's Nursery and I would start applying it. I remember, because I was studying the laws of B.F. Skinner's laws of behavior, and I was implementing them. And I remember at that time practicing and testing B.F. Skinner's intermittent schedule of reinforcement, variable and ratio, and I'm sitting there doing it, target training a turkey vulture. And I was like, well, I'll be damned, he's right. So then I started applying it to all these different animals at the Wildlife Rehab Center. And that's how I have such a close working relationship with Nature's Nursery. We have one of their birds here for training. We get several of their animals in for training. We get several different zoo animals in for training. I learn from animals or situations I haven't encountered before. Did you just fly, Rock? Nice job. You did. That's why I like working with different scenarios. because I learn from that. That's why I like working with an Amazon that has no eyes, a border collie that can't hear and can't see, a dog that can't hear. I learn from increasing complexities, and a lot of abnormal repetitive behaviors develop from lack of increasing complexities. And studies show that most captive environments fail on are what do I want to say? Are not providing enough challenges in the environment. Okay? Look at anything in a cage. I don't care how big, how small that cage. Look at anything in a cage. Their choices are limited. We can add choices back in through training. Positive reinforcement training is all about choice. I used to say all the time, and it used to be in my signature in my emails, positive reinforcement training puts choice back into the equation of behavior modification. When your animals have the option to choose, that empowers them. It's up to us to rearrange environment, understand, really truly understand reinforcers. Food is only a reinforcer under half the time here. We're working with all other kinds of reinforcers. You are too, whether you realize it or not. It's all about choice, and you can empower that animal through training. You're training it whether you realize it or not. So anyways, let me get through a couple more photos. So Rocky started skyrocketing. He was thriving. I was training him, teaching him to enjoy taking a shower. Let's work on your flight skills. I want you flying. I want parrots flying if they can fly, because that expends a lot of energy that if you take that away, you better find a replacement behavior, because if you don't, they're going to find one for you, and it's probably not going to be one you like. And if you're taking and some people do this very well. We have birds here that can't fly. I can't have every bird here flying. It would be a dangerous place for the other animals. That's how I pick and choose who can come and who can go. Sam can fly. He has no eyes. He has no idea where he's going. So I just make sure he never wants to fly. Rocky can fly. He's going on a commercial shoot tomorrow. He can fly. Rico can fly. Suki flies very well. Coco cannot fly. Murray cannot fly. Ollie flies beautifully. Cello flies beautifully. Willie flies beautifully. If they can fly, I want them to fly because they need to expend that energy. And I'm saying that works for me here in a very controlled environment. So then Rocky started skyrocketing. And scream coming up. So I told my husband, by this time, I'm traveling. I'm flying out at least once a month, giving a presentation, different places, and I'm starting to work with numerous animals. I'm getting a lot of experience through working with different species of animals that come in through a wildlife rehab center. I'm starting to talk to zoos. I'm definitely talking to companion parrot communities. And I told my husband, I said, people were wanting to fly into my house to learn. And I would let them. I'd bring them in their house and we'd work with different animals. And I was just like, I need a center. I need a place where people can fly into so they're not flying into our house. And we can work with numerous different animals. And I remember him saying he was sitting there reading the paper like this. He's reading the paper and he goes like this. He goes, show me the money. And he puts the paper back up. And I was just like, game on. So I went out searching for a center. We found this place almost 6 years ago to the day. Next year, the Animal Behavior, no, that was 7 years ago. Next year, the Animal Behavior Center will be 6 years old. And I sat there and thought, what am I going to call it? what am I going to call it? And you know how I decided with ABC? What does that stand for? Antecedent behavior consequence. So I sat there and thought, Avian Behavior Center. And I looked at my husband, I was like, I'm going to call it the Avian Behavior Center. Then I'm working with all these different animals, and I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to call it the Animal Behavior Center, ABC. And I don't know if anybody even really knows that, but that's why we picked our name. Then we started having events, and we started having functions. We started having workshops, which we still do. And here's me, and one of the first times I ever met Deb Jones. I think she came to the second workshop we had here. And I'm showing her how to use a foot target with Rocky to control where she needs him to go. You know what I love about this smile? This photo is the smile on Deb's face. So then strangers are coming in to learn. Hi, Sam. And work with Sam, Rocky. Here's the importance of teaching a station. All right. And we started having open houses, and we started having different animals in the open houses. So look at the laugh. All right. And then the next picture after this one is a very powerful one, because this was at one of our annual events. This was at one of our annual events, and Susie, I think you were here. And the power behind this story, or this photo, I moved to another room, but I'm hardwired. Is because in the next photo, you're going to see, this is at the end of our annual event, and where I talk about Rocky is our mascot of our center. He is the mascot of the center. And this is why. His story is why. So just extinction burst. You'll go away. Is this photo. This photo meant so much to me, because what's in this photo is Bonnie Zimmerman in the background, executive director of the Indonesian Parrot Project. And here is Rocky getting to meet her for the first time. Sorry, I cry because things are beautiful. I'm such a sap. Anyways, I remember my heart beating so hard during this opportunity, and that was because I was just like, Bonnie Zimmerman is in my center. I'm a big supporter of the Indonesian Parrot Project, and here's Rocky, this close to her. This meant the world to me, and I was so nervous. Okay, so here I walk out presenting a roller pigeon and Rocky, but the thing that was really cool was this. Everybody that was following Rocky's story and was here for the event, which was based on applied animal behavior, not just parrots, but they enjoyed it to this point. And Sharon and Diane, if you guys are still listening, that's Sharon Collins from the Long Island Parrot Society, right in the front row in the dress, taking a picture. So I started having, Rocky was thriving with all the attention and the interaction. And I guarantee you, this man, hi guys. That's what I say every morning when I come in. Hi guys. Hi Sam, tickle wickle. Rocky was thriving from all this attention. And I have no doubt the house that he was at that left him behind, I guarantee you that house loved him, but they didn't understand what they were working with. Because as I started working with Rocky, and then I was able to touch him, and then I was able to pick him up, and I was like, this is a bird that has been loved. This is a bird that has been loved, but attention has been unknowingly used to reinforce undesired behavior, and the person backs out because they don't know what to do next. Hello. When I pet Rocky, and I'm sitting here petting him like this, if I stop, he will pick up my hand and place it on the back of his head. He started that shortly after I started being able to pet him like that, and I was just like, behavior doesn't lie. Behavior doesn't lie. Okay? So this is a hilarious photo. Rocky loves to make people laugh. When you laugh, that's why I said earlier when I was starting to laugh, I was like, I better stop or I'm going to get Rocky back. Peekaboo, Rocky. When you start laughing, he will start doing more of whatever he was doing to keep you laughing. Because when people laugh, people get closer. And that is an animal manipulating his environment to get his reinforcers closer. Okay? Then I started working on increasing his flight skills. So, anyways, this is Rocky in flight, getting ready to land on the rafters in the center. He is a beautiful bird, a bird that was very misunderstood, an animal that was misunderstood. These were learned behaviors. I knew enough to know these were learned behaviors. If this animal can learn these behaviors, it can learn alternate behaviors where we can both do better together. And that's what we're doing here at the Animal Behavior Center. We do that through our live streams, our live stream services, and our workshops, Coffee with the Critters. This is a photo that I never thought I would get. That is Rocky and I putting our heads together. Here he is at another event, thriving. Look at the smile on my face. I'm smiling so hard. I'm just happy. I'm smiling that hard because I'm like, hello, look how far you've come. We've done this together. Okay? He's a very happy bird. Here he is, just so excited to be taking a shower. Hello? Hello. Karen and Sandy are going to be walking in any minute. He's so excited. He's on my arm. We're almost at the end. I'm going to go get Rocky out of his cage. But this is the photo that we used in this photo. We just amplified the feathers a little bit. Hi, Sam. So here he is interacting with other people. I just cry because I'm happy, you guys. And so for those of you that may not know, Rocky's presence has been requested in a commercial, which we take off for tomorrow morning. And this is some of the training I'm doing to get Rocky ready. This was yesterday. I live streamed in the Parrot Project, getting him used to change. As soon as this live stream is over, I'm training him again. So this is a bird very well loved, especially by the community. Hello, he's the mascot here, and he's the mascot. He's the mascot behind the work that I do now. There he is. So, without further ado, let me go get him. But before I do, I'll bring him out and I'll end the live stream. For those of you that are interested in the services that we hear, our aligned learning, level 1 for companion animals, level 2 more for people more interested in working more seriously with animals using applied behavior analysis. The Parrot Project is our live streaming membership through understanding parrot behavior training and enrichment. I'm getting ready for this upcoming event in Montreal where I'll be talking about abnormal repetitive behaviors with animals. Sign up for our email newsletter, and let me go get Rocky. What do you think, Rico? Attention, as a reinforcer, proximity, a reinforcer. Bird way over my head. Here, Sandy. Is your mom coming in to give him a shower or no? Okay. There he is. What do you think? What do you think? All those people are looking at you. Can you say hi? So Rocky and I take off tomorrow morning. His presence was requested in a commercial, and I'm doing it. I gave them every reason why I didn't want to do it. And they're meeting all of those reasons why I should do it. And so I decided I am so extremely busy right now, but I have it all under control. What do you think? I'm so extremely busy right now, and I thought this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let's go have some fun. You want to have some fun? You do? He is going to thrive with this. What? Can you say hi? You say hi? Now you're going to be quiet, huh? Attention is a reinforcer. What? Hello, Sam. Hello, Rocky. So Rocky and I hit the road tomorrow. The only thing I'm allowed to say is the commercial airs in March. The production company texted me while we were on this live stream. Whatever I post will be here on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page. I can't do anything until I ask them. So we will be there around 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And this first shoot is tomorrow. The importance of keeping your animal used to change. Because tomorrow is going to be a big change. And I wouldn't do this if I didn't think he would enjoy it and benefit from it. And there's going to be a ton of guys on set. What do you think about that? There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for attending Coffee with the Critters. I got to go get him packed, me packed, and get ready. And I will see you here soon. Bye, everybody.